All right, y'all. What's going on, man? Happy Saturday. It's time for some Week 11 game picks, man. We're going to get into it. Some of these teams I've already talked about. LSU versus Alabama. I told you I'm going with LSU to come out on top. I think they got a really good team. And this is for college football playoff life, basically. You have to win this game. If you don't win, you're done. But I feel like they're going to be able to run the ball with Caden Durham. I already talked about what Jalen Milroe can do on the other side. Leads the Power 4 with 12 touchdowns, so far this season, rushing touchdowns. He's been electric. They got Ryan Williams on the outside. But I want to see who else besides Ryan Williams can step up in that passing attack for Alabama. And I feel like at home, LSU's a different breed. Coming to Death Valley is no easy feat, man. We've seen what they was able to do back in 2022, knocking off them with obviously Bryce Young and all the weapons that they had. But I think this game for Garrett Nussmeier, who's number 2 in SEC with passing yards, just got to simplify the game for him. He obviously can sling it, be better with the decision-making. That is going to be key for him if they want to pull out this win, man, and defensively being able to get after it with Weeks and that crew, bringing a pressure Milroe, make him uncomfortable, force him into some turnovers. All right, next up, man, like I said, it's like 10:20 here right now where I'm at Georgia Tech, and it's full. Like, I come to a usual lot where media can park, and it's already full here. So you know this is a big game. Haynes King, game time decision per Pete Thamel of ESPN. So that's going to be something to continue to monitor and watch. I heard he has been practicing. I heard he has been there. It's going to be interesting to see up to game time. They need him. They've only averaged, I think, like less than 9 points per game when he's been out. They need their star quarterback back. Y'all can call me crazy. Kid can sling it, man. He's the real deal, all right? Kyle Eifert on the defensive side of the ball is going to be key as well, along with Amari Harvey and Warren Burrell. Both of those guys are pretty good corners that are underrated in the ACC and in the country, and nobody talks about. They got Xavier Restrepo, and they got, obviously, Jacoby George to kind of try to slow down today. Got their work cut out, but we're going to see if they're going to be ready to go. And then for Miami, you got the Heisman hopeful as well. One of the best quarterbacks, or I say the best quarterback in the country, in Cam Ward. You feel pretty good. Even if you go down and you losing in this game, you feel confident with his ability to come back and help you out. So that's going to be crucial as well for the Hurricanes. But I'm going with the upset, as I told you in my other video. Got Georgia Tech coming out on top. This environment is going to be crazy. It's already packed here and it's early. Look out. I think they can really pull this off. Georgia Tech has the offense and the firepower to do it. So I'm going with the Yellow Jackets. All right, next up, obviously you got Texas and Florida. I'm going with Texas. DJ Lagway is a game-time decision. So we'll see how that looks, but I think without him, they have no chance in this one. Texas just has too much firepower offensively. Gunnar Helm, right? Isaiah Bond, if he's able to go. I know he's been battling injury in and out of the lineup. Ryan Wingo, their star true freshman. Did lose Jonte Cook, who probably entered the transfer portal. But nonetheless, man, Texas has a very good football team. They should be good to go. All right, next up, Georgia, Ole Miss. I've already talked about this one on my channel. Y'all go check that out. But I got Ole Miss coming out on top against Georgia. Georgia's an elite defense, but I want to see, can Carson Beck limit the turnovers? One of you guys made a comment on my TikTok, and I said under 2 turnovers. I think he will still have a couple in this one, but I don't think it will be 3. So that's going to be something to kind of watch for in this game. And my biggest question, Lane Kiffin has not won the top 5 matchup. 0-4 so far in his career with that. And then Jackson Dart as well has not won the big game. I want to see him be able to do it, man. It doesn't get no better. If you want to consider yourself an elite program, you have to beat the Georgias, you have to beat the Alabamas, and the LSUs usually if you're going to be able to do that in the SEC. They have not been able to do that. This is the game you get to prove that. Jackson Dart leads the SEC in passing yards this year. He's been electric. He's been phenomenal. But I want to see you do it in the big moment, right? And if you're up on Georgia, put your foot on the gas pedal and knock them out. We're going to see if they're able to do it. But I am going with Ole Miss with a major upset at home. Next up, you got Indiana and Michigan. Michigan, a very good defensive team, but offensively, man, it's been tough sledding, right? You got Mulligans, you obviously got Donovan Edwards, but the problem is the quarterback. It's been a revolving door. Alex Ujiri, Davis Warren, Jack Tuttle just retired. Like, the quarterback, they've probably had 4 or 5 different guys that's been in the quarterback this year. That's tough ass on the road against a really good team in Indiana, who I still think is very underrated. Curtis Work, one of the better quarterbacks, 2,000-plus yards passing, like 20 touchdowns. He's been good so far this year. He's back. They can defend. They can get after the passer. They're one of the better teams in the country. So I think it's going to be tough for them. Might be kind of slow to start a little bit with how physical Michigan can be, but I think they'll pull it out. Indiana wins. All right, next up, I already talked about this one, Colorado, Texas Tech. Texas Tech got one of the better rushers in NCAA, number 5 in rushing yards per game. That's Taj Brooks. Colorado has faced this before with Avery Johnson, obviously, and several of those Kansas State elite running backs. You know what I'm saying? And they face it with UCF, but this is a different test in its totality. Also got Josh Kelly on the outside who can burn them. But I think they got a defense that nobody's talking about. Simone Craig is very good. You got Travis Hunter. You got Shiloh Sanders, right? McKinney. They got guys that can defend. So they just got to be able to get in the box, not let the guys get to the second level, see if that defensive line can get some pressure and take away those gaps. Colorado should be good. And Shedeur Sanders protects the football. They get it going with August Stave and obviously Welsh and Hayden. You feel pretty good. This offensive line has been a lot better than people expected, and it's coming on strong with the camaraderie that they've been having. So I'm going with the Buffs to win. Next up, you got South Carolina versus Vanderbilt. I think it's a letdown game for South Carolina. Big win against Texas A&M. Really good for your program. But, the Lenoir Sellers, still coming into his own. Raheem Sanders, a very good running back in the SEC. But I think with Diago Pavia and the passing attack for Vanderbilt at home, they're having a good year. They beat Auburn. They beat Alabama. First time they've ever done that in their history. It's a big year for, obviously, Vanderbilt and the Commodores and what they're able to do. I think they're going to win that one at home on SEC Network against South Carolina. All right, next up, you got Notre Dame versus Florida State. I'm going with the Fighting Irish to come out on top in that one. Just a rough year for Florida State. 1-8 so far this year, losing a lot of recruits. Lost C.J. Wiley, lost another 4-star at the linebacker spot. I just think with what Notre Dame can do, one of the best defenses in the country. They can run the ball with Jeremiah Love, right? They also got Riley Leonard, who's having a really good year. A dual-threat quarterback. Defense is elite, one of the better safeties in the country. Notre Dame will win that one pretty handily. All right, next up, you got Missouri versus Oklahoma. To a degree, I still think Missouri is a little overrated. They have dealt with some injuries this year with Brady Cook being in and out, having to go to the hospital, come back. But nonetheless, they've been trekking forward, just continue to trek forward. Oklahoma up and down. You know what I'm saying? Defense has been good some games. Defense has been bad. Offense has been good. Offense has been bad, right? Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins, guys in and out of the lineup. It's been tough, but I think Missouri at home will serve form, and I think they will come out on top and beat Oklahoma. All right, next up, you got Penn State, Washington. I'm going with Penn State. The Nittany Lions, I think at home, the biggest knock on them is their quarterback, or not their quarterback, is their coach, James Franklin, and winning the big game. Have not been able to do that, but you're still right in the sight line of making a college football playoff. You win out, you're in. It's that simple, you know what I'm saying? So that's all they got to do. Got to have better play call on that 4th and goal or on the goal line, you know what I'm saying, when you're playing an elite team. You know what I'm saying? Drew Aller, I was impressed with how he played. They got to just be better in those spots, humbly. But Penn State should win that one pretty handily and knock off Washington. All right, so right now we got rapid-fire picks. I'm just going to go through a couple more matchups that Fox listed and see how I'm going with. I'm going with Ohio State. They beat Purdue pretty handily. That should be an easy win for them. I'm going with the Cincinnati Bearcats to beat West Virginia at home. I think the Bearcats got it. They played Colorado pretty tough up until the second half. I think they're going to beat West Virginia. All right, a game to watch is going to be Iowa State versus Kansas. Has major college playoff implications. The reason I say that is because they do have a loss last week to Texas Tech, but it's major implications for playoff because remember, you can get in if you win your Big 12 or you win your conference championship. They're number 2 seed, so they will play for that potentially with Iowa State. They lose this one to Kansas at home, they're pretty much done. You know what I'm saying, for the most part. So it's a big game. If they can pull off this upset, I would say it might be done. This will be good for Colorado, obviously. But we're going to find out and see. Kansas is a tough place to play. Underrated. Nobody talks about it enough, but that's a tough place to play, in November, this late in the season. All right, next up, we got Oklahoma State versus TCU. I'm going with TCU. Up and down year for Oklahoma State. Was supposed to be one of the better teams, but TCU should come out on top. I'm going with Oregon against Maryland. Blowout win. No Tej Johnson, but Dylan Gabriel's been fantastic all year long. They should come out on top and win that one as well. Going with Boise State to upset or beat Nevada, the Wolfpack. They should win that one pretty handily. Ashton Denty, Madsen. They could throw it. They could run it. Really good, underrated defense. They should come out on top. I'm going with Air Force to beat Fresno State. So, yeah, y'all, those are my game picks, man. Comment below who you're rolling with Week 11 college football.